Actually, it's based on my knowledge or information that I study in my university, even though I'm in the chemical engineering, but basically we also learn some related to the environmental issue or the solution or something like that because it's related. So at that time, my lecturers mainly taught us about the water pollution in Japan, maybe in the Niigata or other prefecture about the Nyom, some things, yeah. And I become too interested in about the environment in Japan. Like we can see that everywhere, water, air, and soil clean, everywhere clean. So I guess that for me to come to Japan, I can learn a lot of those kind of technology to bring back to my country. So that's why I choose Japan. And another reason is kind of like, as I mentioned before, because I have kind of relation with the Japanese people stuff. So I used to learn a lot like kind of culture, Japanese habit, and people, they are so generous to me. So I think that it's very humble if I can come to Japan to study rather than the other place that I never know before. So that's why I decided to come here. So honestly, I plan to come to study in Japan since I was a high school student. So at that time, I really wished to get a scholarship to come to study in Japan. At first, I know from the adult people that to get a scholarship, we need to good at mathematics or kind of science. So I'm really craving to study and like strengthen that major to get a top level of this. And they are a Japanese guy, so they translate Japanese. Their work is to guide the Japanese people in Cambodia. So at that time, I can learn some Japanese since I was a children. Somehow, like during the high school, it was very busy for me to try study my other major. So I dropped that Japanese class, but after I get into the university, at that time I tried to take the kind of my scholarship test, entrance test from the embassy ones. So there's many people, many students trying to take it, so I cannot get it. Of course, I think that my capacity is still limited, but I tried like a few years to take that entrance examination, but so that, like unfortunately I still fail. And I just rethink like what is the other plus that I need to fulfill to get the scholarship for the next term. So I guess there's the mathematics and other is already good for me. But if I can speak Japanese well, maybe I can get a benefit from the other. So I decided to study the Japanese in the CJCC in Cambodia. Maybe it's popular. I take the Japanese class for around 3 years, and I finished all the like kind of general course level. I'm quite not really remember what it called of that general course, and I took the exam of like JRPT, so I got N3. Yeah, but honestly, N3 is not really a high one, but just to prove that I can, it's my ability at that time is to can make kind of conversations to the Japanese people. After graduate from the CJCC, it's not graduate, I just finished that course from CJCC. I also need to focus back to my university studying because at that time I already a graduate student. It's very important as well to get a high score in the university if you want to apply for the scholarship in the master course. So at least like 3 point something GPA. So that time I focused back to my major skill. Yeah, so finally, from that trying the experience of that and the achievements in the final year of my bachelor, I try again to the master course. So finally, I got it. It was very wonderful for me because I tried so hard to get it, and finally, my scholarship. So it was very, very cool to get my scholarship because many students trying to get it, and I got it. So I proud for myself. At that time, the Kanazawa University, they have the program of ethics program. They share the kind of that recruitment information to some university in the Asian country, including my country. So before me, there's one of my senior came to this program in Kanazawa University. And then, not just only Kanazawa University, honestly, there's also Kyoto University and other university also go to distribute kind of recruitment information. But the thing is like when I come to look at the program and the program provided in English course, kind of like we can interact with a Japanese student, but we learn in English. So it's very helpful for me. And it is the main purpose is to related to environment. So it is hit to my topics. And when I got the kind of information, of course, it's a kind of course information, but it's very important. Like for the graduate school, we need to focus more on the research rather than the class. So we need to know like what we want to do. So after we know like what kind of topic or research we want to involve in, so I go to the kind of like informations of the laboratory to choose to find the advisor. So I found a few of the advisor that I really want to learn in their laboratory. Then I try to contact those advisor, but not all the advisor gonna reply you, of course. So I'm not sure whether the other people meet this kind of problem or not. But for me, I think that my email go to the spam. So it's kind of like my technical error. So I asked my senior to help me, like, can you please just inform your advisor that I really want to get in there, and can you please check my email or something? Maybe it go to the spam because, like the deadline is very tight. It's just a week or 2 weeks to get the Japanese scholarship. It's kind of like we need to apply 1 year beforehand. So it's very important. That's why I asked a favor from my senior. So at that time, she's really quite helpful for me. So she go to confirm with the advisor. So advisor reads my CV and kind of like my motivation about research, so whether it fit to his laboratory or not, and then he decided to accept me. So after accepted, we have document preparation. So it's mainly like kind of what you want to do in your research and what kind of research you want to do. I think that if you choose the laboratory related to your interest, it's quite easy to express what you want to do. But basically for Cambodian students, like English is still a barrier. Like we want to express something like that, but somehow it's they cannot get that meaning. So I also asked kind of my English expert friend to help me to check that kind of my motivation and stuff, and get a comment like, I want to say like that, whether you can get my meaning or not. So like working alone, maybe you cannot get success. So better to get consult with the senior or other friend who can help you. Yeah, so I think it's very important to this point. Yeah, thank you. Yes, as I mentioned before, for my master degree, I got my scholarships. So after that time, it's like I could not get continuously my scholarship for my doctor course. So I tried to other private financial scholarships. So right now, I got the Satoyo Foundation scholarships. Yes, it's a very important question. Yeah, just recently I decided, because like before I still a little bit stuck in what to choose the pathway, because once you step in, it's maybe, of course you can step back, but you need to go through for your senior, everything maybe change. So I decided to work in Japan after my graduation, because I really want to contribute all of my knowledge from graduate school to my country. But the way that I want to contribute is kind of like, it's maybe a little bit like not directly, but it's indirectly. So I willing to work in the Japanese company that really have the project related to the developing country. So after that, I guess that I can bring more like ability or capacity to bring this technology directly into not just my country, but all developing country in the world, which really needs kind of the wastewater treatment process. Of course, like water is very important to us, so everywhere, not just Cambodia. Yeah. it is my plan in the future. I want to contribute to everywhere around the world to get the clean and safety water.